So what we're gonna need here is we're gonna need oil, we're gonna need an oil filter, but there's a couple of specialty items you wanna have on hand. The original Nissan washer for the drain bolt is funky, it's a crush washer, and I actually bought it from Z1 Motorsports. So we have one of those. We're gonna need a sandwich bag, and we'll show you a trick with the oil filter, and we're gonna need a disposable rag. Then we're gonna need the typical stuff that you need for an oil change, like some shop towels, a little drain bucket, and then we're gonna have to lift up the car. But when you're lifting up the R33, this car does have pinch welds, so make sure that you have an adapter for that pinch weld so you don't crush them. If you need adapters, there's going to be a link in the description where you could buy one. It's going to be an Amazon affiliated link. You click on it and order yourself some adapters for your car. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to lift up the car. I want you guys to follow all the safety precautions, safety instructions for your car, for your jacking equipment, and for everything. But for our particular car, we're going to be using quick jacks, and we're going to be lifting up the car, and we're going to be starting the oil change. So with any oil change, typically you want to run the engine for a couple of minutes, let it get warmed up. And what it's going to do, it's going to allow the fluid to just drain easier. So before we start in the bottom, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and unscrew the filler cap. And we're also going to take the dipstick. And what that's going to allow, it's going to allow that physics effect to allow the fluid drain easier, since we allowed this to be open in the top. So I have a 14 millimeter socket, and we have the drain plug right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen it first. And once I loosen it, I'm going to have a paper towel ready, because I want to keep the drain plug. I don't want it to fall into this bucket. Now, eye protection and safety gear is really important, because you don't want to get splashed with oil here. All right. Pretty undramatic there. I have the drain bolt and the oil is starting to drain. Okay, so the oil filter in the RB26 is positioned in a bad place, but it's not impossible. Now, some people do a oil relocation kit, but I'm going to show you the best way you could do it without getting everything dirty. So if you remember that blue rag, what we're going to do is we're going to stuff it underneath there. So let me go get it. So I've got the blue rag in there, and it's not going to catch everything, but what it's going to do, it's going to soak up a lot of the oil. Again, it's not a perfect job where the oil filter is located, but we're going to do our best to minimize the spillage. So we have our sandwich bag that we're going to put over the oil filter, but we're not going to do that quite yet. So I have a K&N oil filter, and I like that because I could put a socket on it and loosen it up. Okay, so I got the oil filter loose with the ratchet, and we're now going to put the plastic bag over it. And the thing about the plastic bag is just we're trying to get as much of the fluid contained. I can tell you right away, it's not easy. And this is why the relocation kits are popular. Okay. So we have the plastic bag over it, and I'm going to start turning the oil filter. And one of the things you want to do too is you're going to want to reposition your oil pan underneath to make sure that you catch anything that's going to drip. So once the oil filter comes off, we're going to go ahead and track where it's leaking in the bottom, so we don't get a lot of leakage under there. But you see how this was helpful. Okay, we're now going to add some oil to our oil filter, and we're going to put it on the gasket, and then we're going to go install it. And this is a good time to remove the rag. As you could tell, it got really dirty, so it did its job. Okay, we're now going to go ahead and put the oil filter where it belongs. All right, once you got the oil filter in there, put it hand tight, and then about a quarter turn, and then that's it. Okay guys, we're going to take off the old washer, and it looks like unscrewing it's the best way to do it. Just going to screw it down, and then I'm going to get my torque wrench ready, and then we're going to go install this. All right, we got our torque wrench, our 14 millimeter socket, and the manual says that you should torque it between 22 and 29 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and do that and get that taken care of. All right, it's time for us to put the oil into the car. Now, the manual says about 4.8 quarts, but it's best to start with that and then check and adjust or fill accordingly. Then you start the car, let it run for about 5 to 10 seconds, turn it off, let it sit there for about 30 minutes, and then go back and check the dipstick and top it off to the correct marker. All right, guys, well, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. We're happy to help. And please look at all our other videos for our GT-R. We have a lot of DIY videos and a lot of awesome videos out there for you guys. All right, thank you for watching. You stay safe, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.